All right, welcome everybody to the stream. Let me turn on this as well. Let's get the green color going. There you go, display names. Welcome everybody. Apologies for the slight delay. Just want to give Will some time to do his post-match reaction. And here we are talking about the game. I'll let you guys kind of just slowly start rolling in here, slowly getting into the stream as we kick things off. Oh, here's Barry. Barry already. Thank God. Thank God the game's over. Let me see what some of you guys have said. Sam, oh Lord. Ferreira given away. Ferreira lived up to my expectations, and Rothrock, oh my God, I can't even with this guy. I understand the short turnaround and travel distance, etc., but I think the starting lineup was probably a mistake. Either go for it or don't. It was kind of a mix. Yeah, I would say so. If Moose does good, Spence loves to stifle his momentum. Oh, okay, I see. Love to see Georgie start. Needed to rest Christian. Guy is getting burnt out. Low-key, the last 30 minutes was better than the whole game from Seattle. And Barry, just with a new comment, Rothjob flopping like a bond, cost us a goal. Is probably what you meant. Yeah, I mean, my initial thoughts, what I thought about the game, I thought it's not, if I'm going to be honest, I didn't think we were going to maybe go in and win this game because I thought, Inter Miami, they needed to win this game. Vengeance was on their hands. They had to come out and get a big result after Leagues Cup. Do I think Miami was a team we could have beaten? Yeah, we probably could have gone to Miami and won it, but it was going to be a little bit of a tall task. And out of all the games we had remaining, this was the one that I felt the most like I would have been okay with the loss because our remaining run is easy. So I wasn't too fussed by this game, really. Like I'm not like this is not going to be one of those videos where I'm like, oh, we sucked. I mean, obviously it wasn't good. I think big positives were Yamar looked good. I think Georgie looked good. I think big negatives, I mean, Barry kind of talks about it. Rothrock wasn't great. Fry, I think that's the big talking point of Stephen Fry because post Leagues Cup, now Fry has taken over, taken back his mantle as the number one over Andrew Thomas, who I felt should have been the number one goalkeeper going in for the remainder of the season. But unfortunately, we haven't seen that be the case. So I don't know, man. This is the slight gripe I have with Brian Schmetzer and his coaching. A lot of that stubbornness. I think what shows is, and this is gonna be a talking point you guys can talk about in the live, is we were able to win Leagues Cup, and I think we saw the best out of Sounders without Morris, without Fry, and for large parts without Rusnak. I don't think he played a pivotal role in our Leagues Cup run, in my opinion. That's just my take. And it just shows maybe these guys are just not necessary. And that's kind of my biggest worry is there's two things post Leagues Cup. Will we have a championship hangover? So I think we saw that like very heavily after CCL in 2022. We never got kick-started. We couldn't get into that. We couldn't get ourselves out of second gear. And that entire season was just a disaster in MLS, like outside of Leagues Cup. And then my other worry was now with the return of Morris, Rusnak, Fry, would that mess up our mojo a little bit? Obviously, it's only 2 games, small sample size. And again, I think Seattle is a team, and I'll pull up the standings right now for you all, is a team right now that I'm not too worried about their place in the in the standings. Do I think, yeah, if they let like a few results slip, could things be different? Yes, maybe. Oh, this is probably the bad graphic to use here. Let me find a better one off FootMob, maybe. That might be a better one. 1 minute. I think Seattle will finish in 5th place. I'm not very like super concerned about that. This result, I'm just hoping gets our butts in gear. Like, it's kind of like that realization factor of, you know what? We won Leagues Cup, but it's time for us to, take things a bit more seriously. God, this is very unfortunate on how this table is. Let's see if I zoom in a little bit for you all and I can just scroll down. Oh no, this is bad. Okay, well, fortunately you guys can't see the standings. Let me see if I could pull up maybe MLS is on Twitter. It might look a little bit better for you all. Apologies, slight technical difficulties. And I'll read what you guys are saying too. I apologize. Yes, Rothrock with a 4.8 rating on FootMob. Yeah, it wasn't great. We lost the ball way too much in the midfield. So many of our passes got cut out. Humid weather definitely, I think, played a part, but I don't think it's like an entirely valid excuse. Barry, you're saying Fry does not deserve another start. Fry did have some good saves tonight, but I'd stick with Thomas. Yeah, it's just like Thomas has earned to be the starting goalkeeper right now, and it's such a shame that that's not the case, that he is not continuing the form that he had in Leagues Cup. This game could have been a good rehearsal for the playoffs, but Schmetz didn't take it seriously. That's a good point, Wandering Ghost. That is a good point because Miami's realistically going to be the caliber type of team you're going to play in the playoffs. So I get it was a midweek game. I agree with Barry. Yeah, I mean, that's the one big thing. Can't deal with the big teams in the games that matter. Well, to a degree, we did beat them in the Leagues Cup, but now Leagues Cup is over. Granted, we can always cheer on about it to the end of the season, but the reality is now we have to go out and prove ourselves in MLS play. The thing is with Leagues Cup is Leagues Cup's a bit of like an interesting mixed bag because you play against Liga MX teams when they're kind of figuring their footing because it's in the early on in the season. They kind of take the tournament seriously. And we only play 2 MLS teams, one of them being the Galaxy and then Inter Miami in the final, which by far was our best match. By a country mile was our best performance was against Inter Miami. Now, see, I want to pull this up 1 minute because I want to pull up the standings. This is not going to be like fully accurate, but it will do just fine. Okay, so when you look at the standings now, remember now we have played an extra game. So pretend this is now 29. Most likely LAFC will leapfrog us. That's fine. Portland, if they win that game against us in a couple of weeks, yeah, that's a bit worrisome. Do I think we'll lose at home to Portland? Maybe. I could see a draw in that game. And then as well, Austin, if they win their next game, they're only about 1 point away from us. Will's coming in soon, so everyone start getting ready for that. Barry with a $10 donation. I'm worried for a drop off after the 2020 CCL win. Yeah, so I will get your guys' take. Do you think this could happen? A championship hangover. I think that's the best way you can put it. A championship hangover from Seattle. Because I will say, like, based off of like how the players have reacted and what we've kind of been seeing online, is there is like a bit of a like we did it. Like it's over. We don't need to worry about anything anymore. Like, oh, we beat Messi. We shut him out. It was insane. We put it all in that game. But like, guys, they're still like, well, let me see. Let me pull up Sounders fixtures. There's still like what 6-7 games plus playoffs left. So now when you look at our remaining games, I do think our stretch of games is very easy. Now this looks a lot better. I think a draw. Okay, let's all do this together. What do we think is going to happen? I think a draw or a win. I'll lean towards a win. But if we lose this Austin game, yeah, it's going to look bad. I don't think we will. I'm pretty confident we won't lose this. Let's go conservative. I'm going to say a draw. No. I'll say a win. We beat Austin away. We're actually really good there. I think we've only ever lost once Austin away. Correct me. Fact check me. Vancouver at home, I could see a draw. Vancouver are looking really, really good. The Thomas Muller effect is 100% like it's happening. Portland at home, I think we win. RSL at home, I think we win. NYCFC away, it's been a long time since we played NYCFC in general and away. But so I could see 3, 4, let's say 5. I don't know. Between RSL and Portland, I do see a draw from one of the two games. Let's say, okay, 3, 4, 7, 8. Let's say this game we lose. 8 points. I would maybe say maybe 11. That's how I view it anyway. I think our run is pretty easy for the most part. I don't think outside of Vancouver at home, I don't think we play a playoff worthy team that I would be worried about for me personally. So yeah, like I'm not. Again, to reiterate my point, I'm not gonna like. I'm not crashing out about this result. Yes, it sucked. It wasn't good, but I did expect like, hey, there was gonna be a bit of a hangover. But now, can the team snap themselves out of it and be like, hey, Leagues Cup is done. It's all over. Can we see the team now get back to that form and the way they played against Miami in the Leagues Cup final? And now let's get Will's take on it because now he has joined the stream. Will, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so let's first get your thoughts on the game because you were able to watch it from start to finish. And then let's kind of talk about this kind of the conversation that we're talking about right now. Is Seattle in like this championship hangover phase? Could we see that happen and all that stuff? And we talked a little bit about on your stream with the whole now Fry, Rusnak, Morris now all coming back and being integrated. But first, let's talk about the game from your perspective.
Yeah, I thought that it was very disappointing game by Seattle. They looked very flat and just very bad, just very bad form in the first, especially the first like 45, 60 minutes of the game. First half was really, really bad. I mentioned to you when you hopped in my stream for a few minutes that they had four new starters in this game compared to the Leagues Cup final. Rotated. Yeah. I mean, they did just play game Saturday, so that wouldn't be a surprise. They had some guys coming in here, but they looked pretty bad. Mm-hmm. And as Barry pointed out in my stream, I think a lot of people would agree with this. I think that Stephen Fry is cooked.
Okay.
I think he's done. I think Andrew Thomas.
It's funny. Better. It's funny because we talked about this. I always will reiterate this. We talked about this 2 years ago. We were on this long before everyone else was.
Yeah, I think he's done, man. I just don't think and also too with Andrew Thomas playing so well that it's time to move on and just kind of see what Andrew Thomas can do the rest of the season because, you know, if he's playing well, you got to go with the hot hand. And, you know, sometimes finding a goalkeeper can be hard for the future. You guys already have one on the bench. And, you know, he won you Leagues Cup. He was very good in Leagues Cup. I don't know why they would turn away from him. Even if Stephen Fry's a legend, he deserves a statue. Obviously, we all agree with that. But Andrew Thomas deserved to at least finish the season out and see what he could do.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that.
Yeah, so I personally, my takeaway from the game was that everyone who started this game was bad except for Yamar and Georgie.
Georgie was robbed of an assist. I saw that miss De Rosario had. I was shell-shocked.
Yes. I think everyone else in the field for Seattle was terrible tonight, outside of those two guys.
Let's talk about this like championship hangover. Now, too many cooks in the kitchen. You see a guy like De Rosario now. Now his name is in the limelight. We're seeing like MLS doing a bunch of now videos with him. We're seeing a lot of the players like getting now the spotlight is now on them. And we're kind of seeing some of the players' reactions being like, hey, we won Leagues Cup. The season's done and dusted. We have nothing to worry about. Like, I'm not saying this is 100% accurate, but you can kind of see this type of mentality. Like, hey, I scored the goal against Inter Miami. Like, I'm the lick now. Like, this and that. But Seattle still have like 8-ish games left till the playoffs. We saw this when they won CCL back in 2022. They just never got out of the hump. And with Fry now, you talked about how he's been reintegrated. We don't understand that. Rusnak, Morris, they won Leagues Cup without these guys. We saw some of the best soccer from the Seattle Sounders in years without these guys. What's kind of your take on that with Seattle closing out the season with these games too, just so you can see what their final matches are looking like?
Well, I think they should win the game Sunday, and they have 4 days off before they play that game on Sunday, I guess afternoon technically for the West Coasters, for Sunday night for me. I think they have a pretty tough schedule, honestly, down the stretch. I
Really?
mean, yeah, because Portland's played pretty well. Vancouver might be the best team in the league right now, or maybe at least the Western Conference are very hot. And I don't think that Seattle can take New York City FC lightly, especially because it's at New York City. They're playing on a baseball field, most likely. And also decision day. They have to travel, almost 3,000 miles. Seattle's not a good road team. They haven't been all season. They're better at home. Most teams are, right? And especially that type of distance. I would say that RSL and Austin are probably the only guaranteed wins
T
they have
wins.
remaining on the
Okay.
schedule. Um, but I mean, I still think they're a good team, and I don't think that they're going to be, I don't think they're going to collapse or anything like that. But
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I do think that I'll continue to say it tonight. The biggest glaring hole was up top. And it wasn't one of those games where they have a bunch of shots and they can't score. They really didn't have a lot of good chances either tonight. They didn't have any chances and they weren't able to score. So I think that we saw tonight that they desperately still need a striker. And we'll see how that's going to affect them down the stretch in the playoffs.
Yeah, when you look at the standings, so Seattle, again, keep in mind this is just one game behind now, but Seattle now have played one more game than LAFC. I'm pretty confident LAFC will leapfrog Seattle, so they'll be in fifth. They obviously still play Portland. They have the upcoming game against Austin. Where do you see Seattle finishing? And if I'm going to be honest with everyone here and the chat, you guys can chime in on this. I really don't think Seattle's better than any of the teams above them. Like, say if they play them in the playoffs, if they play LAFC, I'd be really worried about. If they play Vancouver, I know historically we're better than them in the playoffs, but I'd be worried about them. Minnesota, we didn't beat them all year. San Diego, we had that one win where Ferrer got his first goal, but then we got absolutely dunked on them because it will be in San Diego. So it does kind of worry me if Seattle start, this championship hangover, man. I'm going to keep saying it. I don't think this game is, again, I don't think it's the end all be all. It's not the end of the world, but like Seattle got to snap back into gear now and go with what's working best for them. This is the one small gripe I have with Schmetzer is too much loyalty to like the Morrises, the Rusnacks, the Fries. I get they're the big name club legend players, but go with what's worked with you for you so far. That's what I just don't get. That's the thing I think that annoys me a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think that they have a chance really at this point to finish first place,
No.
especially with tonight's loss. Um, I don't think they're going to be able to finish first. It's going to be tough to finish second, even, and third's really going to be tough because they have the same games in hand as Vancouver. They still have to play each other, and they're 7 points behind Vancouver. They're 1 point above the LAFC with one game. With
2
LAFC
games
have
in
one
hand.
game in hand.
2 games now.
Oh, 2 games. Oh, so this is the
Yeah.
previous standings.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I was saying. Add one more game
So,
to what?
yeah,
Yeah.
that hurts even worse of Vancouver then because now that Vancouver has a game in hand, they still have to play each other. So, honestly, I think the most likely outcome, unless they just go on a crazy run, is they'll probably finish like fifth place in the standings. I would say like probably fifth, maybe even sixth if they lose to Portland. Who knows? That could happen. But I think Seattle, the beginning of the season hurt them so bad with the way they played that they're kind of having to deal with that now. And even though they might finish fifth or sixth in the playoff seeding, that's not really a reflection of how they are now. It's more of just like the bad play in the beginning of the year. So I don't think they're really going to go any higher than they are now. And I think there's actually a chance they could go lower just because of games in hand and because of the points. And they have a tough schedule at the remainder of the season.
And they're playing against the teams that are kind of in their mix too.
Yes, they have to play Portland, who could beat them and jump them. They got to play Vancouver, who could beat them. Hell, even
Austin.
Austin could technically, if they were to beat
Yeah.
them, could get in. So Seattle, I wouldn't panic. I would not panic yet, but just the way the season is unfolding and the way you played early on has hurt you down the stretch. And I just don't see them finishing higher than I think it's gonna be hard to finish even fourth, but I don't see them higher. They're not going to finish higher than fourth place in the Western Conference.
Before we get into segue into the next topic, Jake, welcome to stream. By the way, everybody, if you haven't already, make sure to smash the like button on the stream. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. We have plenty more content as the Sounder season concludes, going into the playoffs. You want to be there, you want to be ready for it. It's always fun conversation with you all, especially with Will. Always love getting that outside knowledge as just a general MLS fan. So you definitely want to be here for it. Yeah, and I totally agree with you, Will, in regards to I don't see Seattle finishing any higher than 5th. I think 5th is where they will be. I just think for Seattle at this point in the season with who they're playing against after this Miami game, you have a comfortable game against the LA Galaxy that you let slip. And then you kind of drop a bit of a poor performance here against Miami. You have to, oh, wow, shout out to Barry for the gifted 10 memberships. Wow, guys, being a member on the channel is top tier. Whoever got these memberships right now, start dropping the custom emojis we got in the chat too. But with the games you have remaining, you got to go into the playoffs strong because, as I said, I think we'll get a little small sample size playing Vancouver, playing Portland. I'm worried about playing these teams in the playoffs because, yes, in the short term, not making any signing in the summer seemed fine because you won Leagues Cup. Musovski did well. Dayro's done well. But those are the times where these new additions, these sparks, like what Cincinnati did, bringing back Brenner. I can't think of other teams off the top of my head. That's the first one that came to mind. These sparks can help you make these pushes hey, think about OG Sounders. All of our playoff runs, making those sparks in the summer window. And that's what galvanizes you in the playoffs. I think that's where it could come to bite the Sounders in the butt. Will, you still think Seattle are like one of the favorites, but what is their pro? What is their con? What could go into their favor? What could go to their detriment in this run pushing into the playoffs?
Well, here's the problem. Can you pull up the standings real quick one more time?
Yeah, here. Yeah. Again, keep in mind, Seattle's played one more game. This is before this game.
Well, here's the problem, right? Let's just say they slide to 5th, okay?
Yeah.
And let's say LAFC slides to 4th. The problem is that Seattle struggle against LAFC in the playoffs historically, regardless of last year. They struggle with them historically. And the problem is, most importantly, is they would have to play LAFC in the first round and play the best of 3. And LAFC would get 2 of the home games if it goes to 3 games. And as we know, Seattle is not a good road team. That is the one thing that is negative about this situation, is that if they don't get home field advantage in the first round, at least, it's going to hurt them. And then as they progress down further, if they do win the first round, they're going to have to be road warriors and they're going to have to win a lot of games on the road. Like I said, just not their strong point. Lumen has become a fortress this season. Like, we've seen some great performances by the Sounders at Lumen Field this year.
And I think that's also thanks to Leagues Cup. Thanks to Leagues Cup for sure.
Leagues Cup, exactly. And honestly, I think it was looking good too, even when they were playing in the Club World Cup. I think that there was a lot of good showings there for them. I think that's the reason why they were able to exceed expectations, was because of the people who showed up to watch the Sounders in those games. But that is the one downside, is that if they don't have a strong performance, they could have some issues in the first round because they're going to have to play someone on the road. And it's not just a Seattle problem. It's hard for any team to win 2 games on the road.
Yeah, we saw that, I think, in the early doors of the 3-game series. We saw a lot of the teams that played majority of their home games of the 2 of the 3 were the ones that advanced. I think it was only one team that was the lower seed that advanced from that 3-game series.
Atlanta United.
Yeah, and so it's like you could see it's a big determining factor.
Well, there was
in the playoffs.
There was actually another one. I
think it was Minnesota. Because I remember they made the video on you.
They made a video on me?
Yeah, Minnesota, remember? Because you said RSL will knock them out in the playoffs. And
I didn't know they made a video on me. That's crazy. But I would say, though, that also New York Red Bulls made it to the final, and they knocked out the Columbus Crew. I don't know. Look, I'm not saying that they're guaranteed to lose. I'm just saying it's going to make it harder on them.
Yeah.
It's just going to make life more difficult, and that's the last thing you would like to do.
And I think even as fans, like I think we see so many comments and messages of fans being like, bro, I finally want us to host like a string of playoff games at home. Because I think Sounders fans have almost felt deprived of having consistent playoff games in Seattle because we don't see it that often anymore. And fans just want to be like, hey, we want to show up like we did in Leagues Cup. I want to see us show up like we did at Club World Cup and be there to support the team in the big games in MLS, the ones that really matter.
No, 100%. I think that I mean, look, anything can happen. They played really well. This is only their second MLS loss in the last like 2 months, I think.
Yeah.
The
Minnesota was
the
their other one.
Minnesota was the one on August 16th, and then before that it was like June 8th, I want to say. I can't remember who it was, but I looked it up earlier. Like June 8th was their other loss. So, it's not time to hit the panic button yet, but you
No, of
know,
course not.
they've had 5 really big games. And I would say if they want to finish higher than what they are right now, or if they want to solidify the 4th place to make sure they're hosting the home field advantage in the first round, they've got to win at least 4 of their last 5.
Of course. 100%. No question.
And I think that they can win 2 of those, but they're going to have to beat Portland, and they're probably going to have to be like, okay, Portland is probably the third easiest win outside of Austin is
This is what
RSL.
I will say, though, dude. Portland, I don't think Seattle hasn't beaten Portland at home since. Wait, no. Did they finally break that record? I don't remember, but I think the last time Seattle beat Portland at home was 2017.
At Lumen,
Yeah.
2017.
Yes.
Let me see. Either way, um, I
Obviously,
think.
a lot of draws in
Well,
there.
I mean, a draw wouldn't be the end of the world, but you really need to win. I would
Yeah.
say this though, if looking at it, I don't know what's harder. That would be the third easiest game, I would say. I'm not sure if Sounders versus Vancouver at Lumen would be easier. That's going to be a really tough game because of Vancouver being
Thomas
really good.
Muller.
But
Thomas
then
Muller
again, New York City all the way across the country, playing
on
on
decision
decision
day.
day
Yeah.
in a baseball stadium.
It's like got that recipe for like, shit could slightly hit the fan here.
Exactly. So I don't know. I just think that but at the end of the day, you got to win these games, right? If you want to ever win
Yeah.
an MLS Cup, you got to win these big games. So they're going to have to win. They're going to have to. They're going to have to win one of these games.
So the question I want to close out with you, and I want everyone in the chat as well to chime in on it. With this whole Fry, Rusnak, Morris reintroduction, what do you think Seattle should do? Because Musovski's still the team's leading goal scorer. He's gonna probably get close to 20 goals this season. Darrow has kind of been in the mix. I think Ferreira has looked the best at the cam position. Obviously, we talked about how Andrew Thomas should ride it out. What do you think Seattle should do? And I already know people are gonna be like, you're not Brian Schmetzer. You don't know what you're talking about. You guys don't coach this team, this and that. But what do you think? What do we think Seattle should do to close out this season for the best chance for them to have a good playoff run?
Well, real quick, I just want to say that the fact that Seattle wins at Providence Park and that the Timbers win at Lumen Field is probably the most fucked up thing I've ever heard in my
Yeah,
life. Like
I
I'm going
know.
back and it's like literally 8 years of Seattle winning at Providence Park and then the Timbers winning at Lumen Field. That's insane. I don't know if that's ever really happened before where they like have advantages at each other's
Away games.
away games, right? Very
Yeah.
weird. What was the question you asked me again? I'm sorry, that just kind of
No, you're okay. I
took me
told
by
you it's been
storm.
a long time since Seattle's being Portland at home. I was
Yeah,
at
you're
that
right.
game. I was
You're right.
17 years old, bro. I'm become a whole man since then.
Yeah.
So
Now you're Unk status.
I am Unk status now, but no, like now with the, as I said, with the introductions of Morris, Rusnak, Fry coming back, we see. I mean, we've seen Musovski; he's the leading goal scorer. Darrow has chipped in. I think we've seen the best out of Ferreira playing in that cam position. We've already talked about how Fry should probably not be starting over the hot hand and Thomas. What should Seattle do to close off this season to finish it as high as they can and have the best possible playoff run? Because I think this could be a golden ticket for Seattle to ride that Leagues Cup momentum going into the playoffs.
Well, I think that they need to switch back to Andrew Thomas because he defensively is better. I think at this point for Seattle and
Do you
goal.
think do you think it happens now? So just quickly to sidetrack. Do you think that happens now after this game or no?
I don't know,
Knowing
man.
Schmetz, I don't think so.
Brian's very loyal to people, so I don't know.
I
I
know.
really don't know. That's a good question. It should happen. I don't know if it will happen. I think that that should happen, and I don't.
Barry says Morris must be a bench player.
Yeah, Barry joked, and it was true at one point. Maxi Falcone is like one of the slowest players in the league, and Jordan Morris got outran by him at a point, which was kind of crazy.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think Rothrock should be starting, obviously. When will Kent be back?
I it depends. It's gonna be close to playoffs if he's back.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
I would like to see him obviously back. You know who they did miss tonight? They missed Pedro de la Vega.
Yeah, what is going on with him? He's having what is he, 80 years old? He's having arthritis issues?
Yeah, man. They definitely missed Pedro de la Vega. That's why I don't want to that's another reason why I don't want to, like, I don't have any issues with Seattle. Like, I don't think they're bad. I just think their schedule is really tough and that they're going to be challenged down the stretch. And because, like I said, I got to emphasize this one more time. They they had a horrible start to their season, which has hurt them down the stretch to where they have to win these games to get a higher seed. It's nothing to do with them now. It's just they're paying for past sins. That's what's going on. But
That
um,
analogy is crazy good, by the way, but keep going.
yeah, yeah. But I just think that the team tonight just had such a heavy rotation that just wasn't the same Seattle Sounders team we saw in Leagues Cup. So I just don't think that we should really crucify them for what we saw tonight, because this is not the team that we're accustomed seeing in the last couple months. Now, if they suck against Austin after they make a close to a first choice starting
Yeah,
11,
similar XI.
then you can start to panic. But I'm not that worried about him, man. I just think that it was kind of like a bad recipe for disaster with everything
And
considered.
and what I said too was, is like Miami, it was destined for Miami to go out and win this. They knew, like Mascherano knew, Messi knew, Alba knew, like they had blood on their hands. Like, we have to win this game. We have to show up here after all the poo-pooing we did, and then the Leagues Cup final.
Yeah. I'm not. I do, but one thing I do think though is, like, I just want to preface this again, or emphasize this, is I do think that uh I do think that Andrew Thomas should start. That's like my
Yeah.
one thing that I don't think you should be willing to negotiate. I think that Andrew Thomas should be the starter going forward for the rest of the season. And if that Leagues Cup lineup played tonight, I think it'd be a totally different game.
I think it would have been way closer. I agree. Yeah.
One thing too is that if you noticed, anyone who watched the game, Inter Miami got super gassed towards the, like,
The
second,
end of the game.
like probably 60 minutes in, they were super gassed, and it gave Seattle a way to try to get back into that match, and they did score a goal, and Obed scored a goal in the 69th minute,
Yeah.
and they were threatening. I mean, they had a goal, they had chances to get back into that game tonight.
It's just they didn't have the guy to make the magic happen. I think
Exactly.
Georgie was getting close, but it's just like the end product. He's got to, like, grab the team by the scruff of the neck, make things happen, but he's just not quite there yet. He hasn't strung up enough consistent games. Morris did. I mean, as much as we're giving Morris flack for how silly was, he did get an assist. I will say that. But yeah, man. The thing is what worries me is now with Rusnak and Morris and Fry all getting back into the frame. Like, I think it's just gonna mess up the mojo, man. Maybe I think it could mess up the mojo. Like, I liked how the team was playing. Like, it felt like more of a team. That wasn't like players being shoehorned into positions.
No,
But
I
that's my
agree.
take.
I
Yeah.
agree. We'll see how they finish the rest of the season. There's what they got 5 games left. We'll see
Yep.
how they close out the season, and that will tell us about what this team's going to do. Like I said, I'm not worried about them so far. I think they're fine at this point, but it's something to keep an eye on, and we'll see what adjustments and changes they make.
Yes, boys and girls, that's going to be the end of the live/video. If you guys are watching this live right now, make sure to smash a like button on the stream. After the live finishes, drop your guys' comments on your guys' thoughts on this match and kind of like some of the topics we talked about throughout the live. Drop your guys' thoughts on it, because people will chime in later that are watching this as a video. And all of you that are watching this as a video, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. We are oh so close to 2,000 subscribers. So if you guys can subscribe, join the channel on this playoff push, I'd appreciate it. Guys, make sure to check out Will too at MLS Moves. You guys see his at right there. He's the man that covers all things MLS. So definitely, if you guys want a broader perspective of the league, go check him out too. But boys and girls, that's the end of today's video live. We will do more of these come the next couple of games. But I hope you'll have a lovely day.